If you're poor and you keep saying money doesn't bring happiness, you're not being spiritual. You're coping. Let me tell you something uncomfortable. That phrase, it's not wisdom. It's a defense mechanism. It's what people say when they've given up on winning financially and need to feel okay about it. And the worst part, you might be using Bible verses to justify it. Read that again. Here's what's actually happening. Every time you repeat, money doesn't bring happiness, you're training your brain to be okay with financial struggle. You're programming yourself to accept less. You're building a mental wall between you and wealth. And that wall, it's keeping you trapped. Poverty sounds humble. Until the bills arrive. Think about that. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever noticed that broke people say this all the time, but wealthy people never do? There's a reason for that. And this is where most people fail. They confuse contentment with complacency. They think being spiritual means being poor. They think wanting wealth is somehow ungodly. Dangerous thinking. But here's what the Bible actually says. Proverbs 28 verse 25. He who trusts in his riches will fall, but the righteous will flourish like a green leaf. Notice something? It doesn't say riches are evil. It says trusting in them instead of God is the problem. Big difference. Solomon was the wisest and wealthiest man who ever lived. Abraham was wealthy. Job was wealthy. Joseph managed the entire economy of Egypt. These weren't just spiritual men. They were financial powerhouses. And God blessed them specifically with wealth because He knew they could handle it. So why do we keep lying to ourselves? Because it's easier. It's easier to say money doesn't matter than to do the hard work of earning it, managing it, and multiplying it. It's easier to spiritualize poverty than to admit you're making bad financial decisions. It's easier to quote half a Bible verse than to study what Scripture actually teaches about wealth. Be honest with yourself. Pay attention to this. When Jesus talked about money, He didn't say avoid it. He said steward it. He told parables about talents, investments, and multiplication. He praised the servant who doubled his master's money and called the one who buried it wicked and lazy. Read Matthew chapter 25. That's not symbolic. That's practical instruction. The real teaching is this: money is a tool. And like any tool, it reveals character. A hammer in the right hands builds a house. In the wrong hands, it destroys one. Money in the hands of someone who loves God. It funds kingdom work, blesses families, creates generational wealth, and sets people free. Money in the hands of someone who worships it, it becomes an idol. But here's the trap. By saying money doesn't bring happiness, you're rejecting the tool entirely. You're saying, I don't need a hammer because hammers can hurt people. That's not wisdom. That's fear dressed up as spirituality. And fear keeps you poor. Let me ask you something. Do you actually want to be wealthy, or do you just like the idea of it? Because if you keep repeating that money doesn't bring happiness, your brain believes it. And when your brain believes wealth is meaningless, you stop pursuing it. You stop learning about it. You stop making the decisions that lead to it. You stay stuck in the same financial pattern year after year, wondering why nothing changes. Financial struggle is not a personality trait. Let that sink in. And that's exactly what the enemy wants. He doesn't need you to love money. He just needs you to be afraid of it. Because a broke Christian can't fund missions, can't support ministries, can't help the homeless guy on the street, can't invest in their kids' future, can't build generational wealth that outlives them. A broke Christian is neutralized. Neutralized Christians don't build nations. That's uncomfortable, isn't it? 1 Timothy 6:10 says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money, the love of it, the worship of it, the obsession with it. That's the problem. But poverty isn't the solution. Stewardship is. Think about it this way. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, drowning in credit card debt, stressed about rent, worried about groceries, is that making you happy? No. Financial stress is one of the leading causes of anxiety, depression, and broken marriages. So the idea that money doesn't bring happiness is a half-truth. And half-truths are dangerous. Money doesn't guarantee happiness, but lack of money absolutely brings misery. Here's the real truth. Money solves money problems. And most of your problems right now are money problems. That's uncomfortable, isn't it? Your car breaking down. Money problem. Medical bills piling up. Money problem. Can't afford to visit your family? Money problem. Working a job you hate because you need the paycheck? Money problem. Be honest, money doesn't buy happiness, but poverty buys stress. Which one are you choosing? It buys freedom. It buys time. It buys the ability to say no to things that drain you, and yes to things that fulfill you. And most Christians never see this. They think wanting financial freedom is selfish. But Proverbs 13 verse 22 says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's not about leaving behind good advice. That's about leaving behind resources, wealth, assets, financial foundations that last. So here's what you need to do. Stop repeating lies that keep you poor. Stop using Bible verses out of context to justify financial struggle. Stop pretending that poverty is a sign of righteousness. Stop lying to yourself. Start studying what Scripture actually teaches about money. Start learning how to earn it, save it, invest it, and multiply it. Start building wealth with the same intensity you bring to everything else in your life. Because God didn't call you to be broke. He called you to be faithful. And faithfulness with resources means growing them. Contentment without growth becomes decay. If you're tired of staying financially average, if you're done pretending poverty is holy, if you want to learn how to use biblical strategy to build real wealth, subscribe now. This channel is for people who are done making excuses and ready to build something that lasts. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you make $40,000 a year. You're struggling. Every month, something unexpected happens. The car, the kids, the house. You're stressed, and someone tells you, money doesn't bring happiness. Sounds comforting, right? But now imagine you make $150,000 a year. You have 6 months of expenses saved. You're debt-free. You're investing 15% of your income. When the car breaks down, you pay cash and move on. No stress, no panic, no borrowing. Are you happier? Of course you are. Think about that. The statement, "Money doesn't bring happiness," is used by broke people to avoid facing the truth. Lack of money is making them miserable right now, and this is where the shift happens. Once you stop lying to yourself, you start making different decisions. You stop spending on things that don't matter. You stop financing lifestyles you can't afford. You stop treating your income like it's supposed to disappear every month. You start seeing money as seed. Galatians 6:7 says, "You reap what you sow. If you sow nothing, you reap nothing. If you sow debt, you reap bondage. If you sow wise investments, you reap financial freedom." Simple, biblical, powerful. The Bible doesn't say be poor and happy. It says be content in all circumstances while stewarding what God has given you. Philippians 4:12. Paul knew how to live with little and how to live with much. He didn't reject wealth. He just didn't need it to define him. That's the key. Wealth shouldn't define you, but it should serve you. It should be a tool in your hands that you use for kingdom purposes, family purposes, and legacy purposes. Here's another question for you. What would you do if you had $10 million right now? Be honest. If your first thought is, "I'd just relax and never work again," then maybe you're not ready for wealth. But if your first thought is how you could use it to build, bless, and multiply, then you're thinking like a steward. And stewards attract wealth because God knows they can handle it. Read that again. So listen carefully. Saying money doesn't bring happiness might make you feel better about being broke, but it won't change your bank account. It won't pay your bills. It won't fund your future. And it definitely won't help you build the life God called you to live. Stop settling. Stop spiritualizing struggle. Stop using bad theology to justify bad finances. The Bible is full of wealth-building principles. Study them. Apply them. Build with them. This channel exists to help you do exactly that, to take biblical truth and turn it into financial strategy that works in real life. If you're serious about building wealth the right way, if you're done being average, if you're ready to stop making excuses, subscribe right now. Don't wait. Do it now. Because the people who win financially aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones who refuse to believe the lies that keep everyone else poor. Money doesn't bring happiness, but financial freedom, that changes everything.